What's up everybody, and welcome back to another video on this YouTube channel. In my last video, I used a free website to identify and compare master's programs that are in the same field but being taught in different universities. In this video, we're going to take it a step further. Using one of the identified master's programs from the previous video, we're going to take a look at the key documents required to apply for that particular program.
Okay, let's go.
But keep in mind, these requirements are generally the same when applying to any university in Germany. In fact, the more I think about it now, the majority of these documents would be required to apply for any master's program in the world. So stay tuned, because this video will have a lot of important information that you need to be aware of if you intend to apply for any master's program.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can't hear you!
Aye, aye, Captain!
Oh!
Just a little secret between you and I, the first 5 and the last document in this particular list are crucial if you intend to study in Germany. Let's get started. I think not much needs to be said about the degree certificate, because it's pretty obvious that for you to apply for a master's program, you need to have completed the bachelor's degree.
No shit, Sherlock!
In some cases, some universities, depending on the master's program in question, may limit access to a particular program to candidates with specific bachelor's degrees. This is illustrated if we take a look at the course identified from the previous video, linked in the description down below, which is the Transportation Systems Master's Program from the Technical University of Munich, where one of the requirements for you to apply to this particular program is that you need to have a bachelor's degree in the area of transportation engineering, civil engineering, environmental engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, computer sciences, communication engineering, economics, architecture, or any other scientific area related to transportation systems. When it comes to assessment of applications, every university does it in a different style. For TUM specifically, they use a 10-60-30 strategy to determine whether to accept or reject applications, with the minimum score for direct admission into a program being 70%. One important thing to note for this particular master's program is the grade on the bachelor's degree certificate only accounts for 10% of your final assessment grade. This in turn shows that the grade that you got in your bachelor's program barely influences the chance of getting accepted into a university in Germany. But this next document accounts for 60% of your assessment grade. The transcript of records is another important document, because it makes up to 60% of your assessment grade for most master's programs in Germany. I will explain more on that in a few.
But first,
in order to pursue a master's program in a particular field, you need to have learned the fundamental principles of that field. And the only way for the university to know that you have been taught these fundamentals is by analyzing your transcript, simply because this document shows what modules you were taught at your previous level of study and what grade you scored in each one of those modules. Some master's programs are extremely difficult. Therefore, the university needs to ensure that not only were you taught, but also fully understand these fundamental concepts. Going back to our sample master's program from the previous video, the transcript of records makes up to 60% of your assessment grade. As you can see in the two tables, you get points based on whether your transcript has any of the modules in the table and what grade you scored in those particular modules. That means it doesn't necessarily matter if you got a first class or a second class honors in your bachelor's. For this particular master's program, the transcript of records is 6 times more important than the final grade. In short, what I'm trying to say is that the modules that you were taught at your previous level of study and the grades that you scored in those particular modules basically determine whether or not you qualify for a master's program. This is because universities generally prefer students to pursue master's programs within the scope of their bachelor's, as they are then less likely to have difficulties understanding the content of the master's program. This is why I said in a previous video, while it is possible to do a master's program that is outside the scope of your bachelor's, it is highly advised not to do so. Try to apply for programs that you qualify for. It's literally as simple as that. After you're done with this video, I highly recommend that you go check that one out. Link in the description below. Next on our list is the letter of motivation. This particular document tries to explain why you believe that you deserve a place in the master's program. As I said in a previous video,
Why?
we start off with why. Simply ask yourself, why do you want to pursue a master's program? Your why, reason, or motivation for doing a master's program is crucial for you to first identify. I know I sound like a broken record by now, but seriously, go watch the video. It's very beneficial, especially if you intend to come and study in Germany. Remember, the university officials that make the decision of whether or not to accept your application don't know you. So you need to illustrate to them through this document that you're a good candidate for the program. Going back to our example master's program, the letter of motivation is referred to as a justification letter, and it has been defined as a written statement of reasons evaluated by 2 commission members independently of each other on a scale of 0 to 30 points. In short, the letter of motivation makes up 30% of your final grade. Just as a recap, these 3 documents are the most important as they can determine whether or not your application for the master's program will be accepted or denied, as the degree certificate makes up 10% of your assessment grade, the transcript of record makes up to 60%, and finally the letter of motivation makes up the final 30% of your assessment grade. If you're interested, I made a video that talks about drafting a motivation letter. In that video, I break down the different parts of a motivation letter using examples from the actual motivation letter that got me into the Technical University of Munich. Some universities may require you to submit a collection of work that you have individually produced. For example, you may have published scientific papers during your previous level of study, or maybe, like in my case, I was instructed to submit my final year bachelor's thesis. This document is not necessarily graded, and to be honest, I don't understand why they asked for it. In case you have an idea, kindly let me know in the comment section down below. The next important document in this list is your CV. And again, this doesn't really need much explanation because the CV basically shows your academic and professional history from the time that you started schooling to the point where you currently are at. When it comes to writing CVs, there are 2 very important rules that need to be adhered to. The first one is that the CV needs to be written in the European format, and the second rule is that there should be no gaps, literally not even one. So let's say, for example, you took a year off school or a 1-year break between high school and your bachelor's program. That period needs to be indicated in your CV when you're applying to the university. For example, as you can see in my own personal CV that I used to apply for my current master's program, there are some periods where I was very inactive either academically or professionally, but those time gaps or those periods basically still appeared on my CV, but I indicated like a small note either searching for a job, or another example where I was applying and enrolling into either high school or university. But I'm sure now you get the point. There should be absolutely no gaps in your CV whatsoever, because as I said previously, same as with the motivation letter, the officials tasked with the choice of accepting or rejecting your application do not know you. So for them to accept your application, they need to know everything about you as much as they can. And your CV is one of those documents that helps them to do so. If you are interested, I also have made a video on how to create a CV in the European format using a free software tool that I think is really good. I think we're on the 4th or the 5th document right now, but I'm not really too sure. The passport is probably one of the most important travel documents that an individual needs to have, as it will be used to identify you in a foreign country. If you're planning to study outside your home nation, you need to have an up-to-date version of your country's passport. Finally, the last document required to study in Germany is the VPD certificate. To put it in simple terms, this VPD certificate is a document that is produced by a third party known as Uni-Assist. Uni-Assist takes your academic documents from your home country, such as the bachelor's degree and transcripts, and then converts them into the German equivalent on behalf of some universities. For most countries, the way of ranking and grading is different when compared to Germany. Like for example, in my home country, the best grade that you can get in your bachelor's degree is a first class honors. And then you have the second class upper and the second class lower. But in Germany, it's a little bit different, where they have a ranking system of between 1.0 and 5.0, where 1.0 is the best and 5.0 being the worst. The VPD certificate that Uni-Assist produces basically tells both you and the university you intend to apply to whether or not you qualify for the master's program. I'm sure by now you can understand why Uni-Assist is very useful for universities. Ideally because different universities have different cutoff points for different programs, and it makes it easier and faster to process applications. This is because officials don't have to spend time doing what Uni-Assist has already specialized in. And just to illustrate, here is an example of my VPD certificate that I got after applying with Uni-Assist. Quick disclaimer here, not every university requires the VPD certificate from Uni-Assist. So you need to check the requirements of the particular course that you intend to apply for just to confirm whether you need to apply for the certificate or not. Simply because, as you can see on screen, applying for the VPD certificate involves spending quite a significant amount of money. But just in case you require to apply for the VPD certificate in order to apply for your master's program, I'll leave the link in the description down below. So yeah, that's about it for this episode. Now you know the 7 important documents required to apply to any university in Germany for master's level of study. If you've made it this far into the video, I'm pretty sure you found some very helpful information, and in return, I only ask that you like the video, Leave a comment and subscribe as it helps the channel grow, and also as a way of getting feedback to help me improve the quality of the videos. If you're interested about studying in Germany and want to see more content, check out my playlist. It's called A Guide to Study in Germany. Otherwise, I wish you all the best as you go through the process of applying for your future master's program.
Bye-bye.
In some cases, some universities, depending on the master's program in question, may limit access to a program to candidates with specific bachelor's degrees. Where the f am I looking?